Hi, everybody. I'm back with another episode of the Career Coach RX podcast. And this month, we are bringing you a great group of African American professionals and entrepreneurs. We're talking about all kinds of topics that affect the African American community in celebration of Black History Month and building up to our 2024 Black Health Summit that will be held on February 24th from 10 o'clock to 12:30. And today I am so excited to introduce my guest, Latonyia Sumpter. She is the founder of Integrated Wellness and a yoga teacher. We're going to be talking about wellness in our community today. We're going to be talking about mindfulness and yoga. And since this is a career coach podcast and we talk about what inspired you to start your journey, that's how I want to start the conversation, Latonyia. Now, if this face looks familiar to you, Latonyia was one of the guests on our virtual vision board party that we hosted in January. That was like my very first event, and it inspired both of us to continue to do and host events throughout the year. And so I am so inspired and so motivated. I was so motivated and inspired at the virtual vision board party, which we're going to circle back and talk about how you're doing with that vision board this year. But I want to share, I'm so excited to share this platform with Latonyia this morning. So let me hand this over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What inspired you to be on your current journey?
So I am Latonyia, of course. I am the founder of Empowered WellBeing. We are an integrative holistic wellness brand that really focuses on helping women grow, heal, and flourish. And I'm just going to get right into it. Empowered WellBeing was honestly birthed during a season of me struggling through my own depression. I've been on my personal healing journey since about 2018. And within that, things were going good, right? I'm still kind of like peeling back the layers of my onion, but then I fell into a depression. And I'm like, oh God, well, what is this? And one day something just says, go to yoga. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym on yoga. Okay, I'm gonna do it. And that led to me going and building. And then all of a sudden, I knew that I would eventually, at some point, just the knowing that I would be helping women really grow, heal, and flourish to really overcome a lot of their inner child traumas, to be able to help them kind of identify them. But I realized that, oh, well, maybe I should add this modality to my brand in my business space as I'm building this. So I went and got my certifications. I got the 200-hour, and then I just recently completed my 300-hour, which is a more professional level, right, of the yoga space. And it was just so impactful with my life in regards to that season of depression that I was really going through. And I really feel like it was identities, right? It was like, wait a minute, who am I becoming? And I just remember just thinking like it was like a dark cloud that was over me. And when I connected to that yoga, I just remember it just started transforming me like mind, body, and soul. So it's been my own personal healing journey and overcoming a lot of my own inner struggles and things from childhood that led me to this current space and where I am growing and building empowered well-being.
But that is so excited to hear. So let me just ask you this question: had you already, been in the wellness space, like with your business, or did you start your business as a result of you pursuing?
It was, It was. It started from my own personal journey. Like I said, I knew that at some point I would be coaching women, but I never really thought that I would be from a wellness space. I've always personally liked trying different wellness things. I've always been that person that would just kind of try different things, but it was my own personal journey that has led to the birth of Empowered Wellbeing in my healing space. So yeah.
Now we got a lot to talk about because you just launched your first wellness event, and we kind of did some behind the scenes talking. So what are the things that I want you guys to know? Because I want to talk a little bit about just our communities first and just health and wellness in general, right? But I want to say this up front about the journey of entrepreneurship. And do you still work full time and balance your business?
Yeah.
So if you're listening in and you're talking about, the career piece of this in terms of, looking for that motivation. Hey, as entrepreneurs, there are starts and stops to this journey. There's different levels of what influenced us or what inspired us. I mean, and I'll talk a little bit later about, like what inspired me to jump and do the health summit, because that's not necessarily my lane for the business that I'm running, right? What's happening with that. But when we talk about our communities, right? Specifically, I want to give you a few statistics. Studies show that Black Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems than the general population, and Black individuals are less likely to seek mental health treatment. And so, for you to start off this conversation is and just saying like, hey, I'm acknowledging like this was happening to me. I was going through a period of depression, which we all at some point have experienced some tough roads, right? I've done that and people are like, well, I didn't even know nothing was wrong with you. Of course you didn't, right? Because we're keeping up this facade. Did you experience that before you even acknowledge, what you experienced? Were you of the keeping up with the facade? I'm just now, as I do podcasts and events, talking about my experience. So what was that, what was those feelings like when you had to keep that bottled up inside of you? And then how freeing was it for you to make that transition?
Right. So I will be honest, it was something we talked about yesterday, is that we live in a society where things have to be perfect. And if you don't show up perfect, then something is wrong with you. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a season that somebody is going through. But then I also find what happens is that when you're trying to put on the facade to show up perfect, a lot of times it's because sometimes you don't have the support that you think you really have. The only people that really knew that I was going through that depressional season was a few of my close friends. And I'm talking about like maybe one or two people probably really, really knew. And I just remember like it was some days, all I really could do was just get out of bed to work. That was literally all I could do. That was the only capacity that I had. And it just got to a point where I'm like, okay, something has to give, and I cannot stay in this space. And again, I say it was just one day, like, go to the gym, go to yoga. Go do yoga. And I did it. And that's when I started seeing the changes. But I agree that I feel like it's society. And if we show up anything different than what society deems as normal, then it's a problem.
Right. And I know like right now, when I mentioned earlier, we're talking about that space. So we're kind of in the hallway. There's a book, and I hope I got the title right. When one door opens, another door closes, but there's hell in the hallway. Yeah. That is so true, right? When you're in that transitional space of trying to figure out how to run your business, balance that with your regular job. And then, even without these other nuances, there can be things that are going on. But like you found yoga as an out. Girl, I got to hit you with statistics on this conversation, right? This is such a unique conversation because we're not, most of the time when we talk about like general health and wellness, we'll come on and we'll talk about some of the chronic illnesses and things that are related to our communities. But, most of the time it's going to be like, oh, just exercise. It's not going to be that you found many Black yoga teachers, right? Nope. There's like not a lot of us in this space. So you found, it's not that you are just a yoga professional for Black people. We just happen to be talking about this for Black History Month. Right. But you represent a minority in the field that you're working in. Listen to this. When we talk about chronic diseases, more than 40% of African Americans have high blood pressure, leading to increased risk of heart disease. Black women are 3 to 4 more times likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. And these are all, we both you just threw your health summon. I'm organizing and getting ready to throw mine. But I want to hit you with these yoga facts and facts about therapists too. So we know the chronic illness and some of the general health facts, but only 6% of therapists in the United States are Black. So when we talk about mental health, there's a minority community even amongst therapists. And then yoga has been shown to reduce stress, anxiety levels, benefiting overall mental well-being for individuals in the Black community. And despite these benefits, only around 7% of yoga practitioners in the United States identify as Black. Wow. So you have found a very unique niche approach. Mm-hmm. So how have you, as an instructor, what's your process? Like let me tell you guys, when she came on the virtual vision board party that we had in January, she caught me so off guard, right? Because I'm getting ready to ask you questions or just thinking you're going to start the conversation, and you did a whole meditation. So that was something unique and different. So, what does a session look like? If you're doing leading a yoga session, or I don't know if you work with clients privately also. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about both ends of that.
So I'm very, and I say this too, and you brought that up about being it's an underserved African American community, for sure it is. And I'll be honest, in a lot of my classes, sometimes when I go to new locations and when I walk in, Kristy, they say, "Oh, you the yoga teacher?" I am, my love. I am your yoga teacher for the night. So it's in that sometimes it will catch a lot of the students off guard when they come in, and I just laugh.
Are you
But
doing this in our community? Or are you doing it in, is it
so,
the more diverse communities?
right,
Because I
so
want to
it's
know, like,
more
if you, I want to know if you are being, when they ask that question, is your competency also being judged? Can you ever?
yeah, I think so. I think it is being prejudged until they sit into the class. And typically when we're done, they always look at me and say, "Oh, thank you." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." Or sometimes I do think they underestimate because depending upon the day, if I'm going through like a vinyasa flow, that's more of a faster flow. So they don't know really in that. And I think I do catch them off guard sometimes because they're like, "Oh, okay." So I am very intentional with my classes. When I say very intentional, even how I started that particular session when we did it January 1st, I'm always intentional with everything I do. My music is even intentional because I know what is going to kind of calm the body down before we even get started. Even towards the end, right? I'm even paying attention to my music and how it's really helping you truly like come into union with yourself to kind of get the body. Because a lot of you got to think most often we're just coming from work. A lot of us, where your body is all still revved up from work, being busy, constantly going. So I know that for the most part, even my words are also transcending too, right? Just to kind of help the mind and the body to kind of calm down. So I typically always start with a meditation for the most part. Even if I'm not really starting with like a verbal meditation, I'm always starting them out just in a quiet space to get the mind quiet. And I'm very intentional about that, wanting them to really tune into themselves right before our session really starts. So typically for the most part, and that's any yoga teacher session, we're kind of starting with getting the body warmed up. We're doing different poses just to kind of get the body warmed up. Then we're moving into our peak poses, right? And this is sometimes depending upon the class. In a vinyasa class, that's going to be more of a faster pace. And a hatha gentle class, it's still kind of slow, but it all kind of depends on the teacher and how they kind of structure it. And then towards the ending, again, of course, it is me. We're ending in savasana, and that's typically most teachers, that's when you kind of see them like laying down on the floor, and that is to really integrate that 45-60 minute practice to kind of get your body back into union and together so you can kind of finish your day up. So yeah, I'm very intentional, like I said, even with the music piece. So yeah.
So you're a minority in a space where you're
Yes.
still a minority within that
Yes.
seven, because you
Correct.
only make up 7% of those teachers.
Correct.
And I'm glad that even though we know that you might get some crazy looks sometimes, that once you start teaching, because you just said a bunch of words that I can't even spell, and I got a doctorate degree, I don't even know.
Girl, listen. So some of those words I can't even pronounce, and it's the Sanskrit is what it is. In the Sanskrit, they have that's the term for it. But girl, some of them words I'd be like, "Oh Lord, okay." In this season, I'm going to be perfecting this, Jesus, so I can say these words a little bit better.
We talk about some of the chronic illnesses and things that you heard me mention some stats earlier. So like, what besides supporting with depression? Because I can't never stick to anything. Pilates, I done tried it all. I done went yoga, Pilates. I think they have a thing called Pure Bar. It's a where you can go and do that. Oh my God, I did that one time and passed out. And I remember even when I tried some of the more intense type of stuff. So I just, I try to jog a little bit because I'm still in the military and I try to be a little fit there, but I definitely can do better. So when we talk about the health benefits of, yoga practice, right? Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you this question. Is there like a particular philosophy that you subscribe to when it comes to yoga, or
yeah, so it extends so we see the poses, but yoga is more than just the poses. It's like a whole list of things, of other things that it's also doing, and different things that we do go by, right? and I should have probably gotten like a few, like just different mantras and things that we kind of live by in regards to the yoga practice. But it extends beyond just the poses. It's not just in the poses or the asanas is how we kind of look at them. It extends more beyond that. I even see how I like to do more empowerment type yoga. So if you were to ever attend any of my classes, it's going to be empowerment and inspiration because it's all in my words, right? And how I connect the two. So if we're in Warrior Two pose, you're going to probably hear me say something like in Warrior Two is just the standing out, right, of the arms. You're going to more than likely hear me connect that to say, this is the part when I want to teach you to stand firm in who you are, right? Yoga also extends beyond the mat. And what I'm also showing them is, life is going to throw you some curveballs, but in this pose into Warrior Two, I am teaching you to stand firm. So when life comes at you, you are well balanced, and this is teaching you balance to be within. So I always like to, and that's why I say we take it's the poses, but it extends beyond that, and it's helping you in so many other levels of life, like the self-awareness that kind of comes up. It's so many things that by implementing a consistent yoga practice that helps. And I'm gonna give you an example. Anxiety was another one that most people would be like, you ain't got no anxiety. How you telling me what I got? I know how I show up, right? And I know what's going on internally. But the yoga space really helped me with that. And I'm gonna give you an example. My very first class at this new community where I was teaching at, I was late, like the second class. I wasn't late, but I like to be to my classes about 30 minutes ahead of time. That way I am calm. I've gotten myself set up. I have set the tone and the energy for the room. I like to do my praise and worship before my sessions. I like to.
You're a gospel yoga coach.
Oh, girl, yeah, baby.
You got Jesus in it, right?
Listen, baby.
Yoga and Jesus. Okay, that's 7%. You probably that 1%. You ain't lighting candles, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. So no, I usher the presence of God into all of my. It's the energy is felt when you come in, right? So I like to get there ahead of time. But this particular day, I was late. Again, not late, but in my mind, I was late because I didn't get there till like 5:50 and class starts at 6:00. And they were all there sitting, waiting. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And they were like looking at me, and I'm just thinking like, okay, here I am. I'm late in my mind. The self-awareness and the grace that I give myself through the yoga practice, because again, it's not just the poses. It helps you in so many other areas of life. I walked in and I was like, guys, I apologize, I'm not on time, but we get ready to get right into this. An old version of me, girl, the anxiety would have been through the roof because I felt like I wasn't on time. I felt like I had to be perfect. But yoga teaches you that it is not a perfect world. And it helps you, again, to be able to come in union with yourself, to give yourself grace and with ease. And that's how I move throughout this world, girl. I'm like, I ain't perfect. I am not perfect. It is progress over perfection.
Hey, did I had text message you and I was like, I think I said, hey, please forgive me for the title of this podcast. Did you
start replying?
Did you see the title of the podcast? I don't know your age group. I might age it myself, right? But I titled the podcast "Free Your Mind and the Rest Will Follow." Do you remember this song from the 90s?
I do remember it. I do remember that song. I do. And I like the title. See, even with that, like I liked it. I was like, it was fine.
But to that next point, when you talk about, doing yoga and it's helping you in life, what are the health benefits of it beyond that, right? Because I'm thinking I am older and stiff and can't barely move. So, what are just the general health benefits, of doing yoga besides, helping with depression and anxiety?
So, of course, it's helping with your stress for sure. It's helping you to stay present and mindful. And I'll be honest, let's just say it's a day that I have not implemented my yoga or whatever in my daily practice. Can I tell the difference? I can tell the difference. I even notice, like, I feel like I am a lot more happier. And I feel like it's because I have this yoga space in my journey right now. So it's helping you in regards to reducing the stress. It's also helping your body with the flexibility, right? Being able to, even as we're starting to get older, like I'm 40, but whatever.
We're the same age. I
Yeah,
stopped at 39 though.
yeah, and it's so many. Here's the deal too: it's so many variations of the yoga. You have yoga for athletes, you have yoga for seniors, you have chair yoga. It's so many different forms and variations of it to help so many different communities in regards to what they may be experiencing within their bodies. Like it's just the overall, when I say the mental, it helps the mental. I promise it does. It does. If it don't do nothing else.
Because it has that meditation. Like in my church, we talk a lot about. I come out of UFBL, which is basically like a unity church, right? We talk a lot about centering ourselves, being mindful. So you hear it. So when I talk about mindset and transformation, we talk a lot about positive psychology. You know what I mean? So it's like you have that built-in aspect there when we talk about mindfulness and meditation and what it does to keep you centered. And I might not be the track star in the yoga track star, but I want to take us back to when you came on the virtual vision board party. Yes, let me just in the middle of this say this is Latonyia Sumpter, founder of Integrated Wellness. There are very, very few. When she talk about her career journey, she still works a full-time job in an entrepreneur, just like myself, right? But there's very few African-American women in this space. And when we talk about, inspiring and motivating others, when we talk from time to time and kind of share our journeys, kind of became like instant friends, just and never met in person, right? And bounce stuff off each other about this entrepreneurship thing. But this is just inspiration for you. If you're listening in, to carve out a space for yourself. I mean, that's a different thing to me to go to a yoga studio and the yoga teacher playing gospel, right?
Yeah.
So there's a space for you in the area where that God is giving you a vision, right? And I feel like this ain't no religious podcast, but I don't have no problem with throwing around God, right? At all. This ain't even really a social impact podcast, but I also believe, and what we're going to transition to is what I talk about when you are being blessed to build a platform. Look, I have no problem with getting on here saying, look, I'm on here looking crazy. This is the process of getting started, right? We're launching something. And over time, hopefully we get the lighting. We get all of the things that we need to be able to build up. And you'll see me coming on like not Club Shay Shay, but with that level of of being able to be in a studio or something like that. Business. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're asking of the universe and of God, right? So let me ask you this question. You're not only a yoga teacher, but you just ventured into this space where you're throwing events. And yesterday you threw your first event. We were talking back and forth. Like I threw my first event in January, right? That virtual vision board party. We had a great time. But yesterday you threw a health fair, right? So let me let you talk a little bit about that and what inspired you to do it. And I know that you have plans to continue doing those type of virtual events in the future. So let me give you that platform so you can share, because you guys, this is available on YouTube, right?
Right. Yeah. It is. Yep. It is. So it is up on YouTube, up on the Empowered WellBeing. So I wanted to do right now, again, starting. Sometimes we're just too afraid to even start. So
hey, let me add to that. It's inspiration, right? The start. You gotta jump. You see me right now? I'm looking crazy, hair looking crazy. But it's just like I told Latonyia this morning, hey, I'm sick, but I got 3 of these to do this morning. You gotta be willing to just start where you are. And that's sometimes turn on your phone, turn on your computer, and just jump. Let me
even and I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna run this back.
Having church, go ahead.
We gonna run this back, okay? Because we let the Holy Spirit lead us in these settings, So I'm gonna run this back. I remember I finished my first yoga certification January 2022. And I sat on it for a few months. I remember looking at different yoga communities and people were saying like they done had this certification 3, 4, 5 years and ain't did nothing. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Lord, I ain't waste no money to not do nothing with it. And again, sitting, something said, go look online, go find a job or something where you could teach. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe not. Girl, let me tell you something. I applied. It happened just like that. All I had to do was get insurance. I added the insurance piece to kind of protect Empowered WellBeing. I added that. And next thing I know, I was assigned to a community not far from even where I live at. Girl, when I say it was happening, I walked in that class Was I a little afraid? I was afraid. Friend, I had my tablet and all. I had memorized the poses. All you need to know is, girl, I was in there like this pose. I did not care. Okay. I didn't care. And I remember a few times laughing at myself during that session. I just didn't care. But it was like, it's either you got to do it. I think you do it blind, scared, and crazy, child. I did it.
You got to. And that's what we're doing now. We you know,
Right.
we're jumping off something
Yeah.
and walking in faith.
Listen, so I did it, and I haven't even, when I think about it, if I be transparent, I haven't even been teaching a year yet, and I have so many opportunities in public spaces, right, that are leading me to where I'm going. That is absolutely phenomenal. So I say that to say, and I thank you, Holy Spirit, for leading me to say it. Just do it. Just start. Just it's not going to be perfect. It is not. But getting to the quarterly wellness events, I'm starting with them, doing them quarterly. And what I want to do is to just start spreading awareness. And yesterday's event was really, really good. I had an NFL football player on. I had some other people in the wellness space. I had some therapists that was on, and we just dissect and talked about, I let the men start off first because it was important for me. I'm like, I got to find some men because we got to start reaching the men as well in the African American community, because I feel like what happens, they get 60, 70 and then they're sick. And then it's like, but what about those earlier years when you could have been doing something with your health and wellness and you were not? So how can we start bringing awareness even to the men in our community? Because it's important. We practice self-care and self-love for the women, right? But what about the men? So you'll notice that I'm going to always more than likely kind of bring men on they kind of speak, but it was phenomenal. I let the men kind of start off in ways that they can kind of, ultimately we were all sharing knowledge. And again, you can find it on YouTube up on the Empowered WellBeing. And the second,
feel free, Latonyia, once this is over and the link is posted on my, because I've already posted this stuff to the Career Coach RX page. You know, we've been sharing the professional, but please feel free to come back underneath that comment section and drop your link right there to your YouTube so people can go in and watch it, right?
Perfect. Yeah. So, and then the second section, I had the therapist start speaking from a mental health profession, right? And I allowed them to kind of take the lead. And there were things that we kind of discussed and talked about. When I say afterwards, they sent me messages and it was just like, no, that was good. That was really, really good. So these are going to be quarterly events. I'm thinking the next one probably will be like April or June, and we're going to just kind of bring experts on. I've already kind of really planned out the year. Like I'm thinking like October is going to be like, I want to bring like breast cancer survivors on to kind of bring awareness, right, in regards to women and, you know, just our overall health. So you're going to always notice it's going to more than likely be around, for me, it's going to be around that healing, health, and wellness area of arena in regards to our quarterly wellness.
Well, we're very excited for you. I also wanted to share, because, you know, when we talk about the inspiration behind it, I kind of shared the story yesterday because I'm also doing a health and wellness event next week. Now, this will be a one-off for me, right? My business, Work Solutions, when I started this in 2016, it was healthcare consultant, and I really focused on career coaching with just the healthcare sector, right? But I've been working with some coaches, and we're going to transition my business to social impact. So, you know, I'll be still having, because I wanted to make sure that I'm working with nonprofits, churches, still working with healthcare. And then, of course, my background is education. So next week, guys, I'm going to be throwing a health fair too. Same premise. I actually found it harder to recruit men, but I had the same mindset, right? The intention here is, one, you know, to make sure that we talk about some of the things that were impacting our community. I have no problem with saying what inspired me to do that. I want to look up this young lady's name. You know, I felt in December that, you know, God was pulling me to do something bigger. And I'm like, well, God, I have no money, so I don't know what we're doing, right? You know, and that's so, hey, what we doing with no money? But I know, let me see, she was a Black lady. Her name was Brittany Watts. And this is what happened. Look, when we talk about, you know, being inspired to what you're going to do next. I was watching TV in December, and I said, well, I want to do something in February for our community. And I was watching this young lady. This story took place in Ohio, a young lady named Brittany Watts, where she had been told that she was going to miscarry a baby. She was forced to carry the baby to term, and then when the baby was born, it was born dead. The baby was born in the toilet, and then she had charges pressed against her for tampering with a corpse. Now those charges were dropped, and that's because when she got to the hospital, the nurse went and basically lied on her and reported her to the police. I'm like, you guys they had been following the story for 9 months, and I said, my God, I've experienced my own battles with maternal health. And I said, I got to do something for our community. So how can we take my platform and pivot to this social impact model where I'm not only just helping social impact professionals, but also supporting issues, not just in our community, because next month is Women's History Month, right? So I'll be doing something for that too, but supporting issues that affect us as women and as minorities. So I'm going to post the press release that came out yesterday in the comment, but on February 24th from 10 o'clock to 12:30 p.m., we will be having the virtual Black Health Summit, and we will be focusing on Black maternal health, because that was the inspiration for it, mental health, as well as, I cover a lot, mental health, Black maternal health, and also one of my other service lines for my business is healthcare workforce diversity, right? And making sure that we're hiring a diverse workforce. So all of those will be topics. And just like I had to go out and recruit me. But I'm plugging my stuff, but I want to get back to what we're here, which is to talk about you. So you have this events that you're throwing, and then I also see you on Facebook a lot doing lives. You started doing those when you doing some yoga classes.
Yeah. So Monday. So what I'm doing now on Mondays, just to kind of, if people want to kind of jump in, Mondays at 6 p.m., 6 to 6:45, you can join me in my class on Mondays. So as a matter of fact, I'll be posting that up today. So if anybody wants to, they're more than welcome in it. Or if not, they can just catch the replay. So I'll be going live on Mondays, and you can catch our classes from 6 to 6:45. So yeah.
This really has been an amazing conversation. So is there any other thing that you're doing, like events that you have coming up that you want to make sure that you
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually in the planning phase right now. We're planning a women's retreat in May currently, and that really should be going out within a few days. We're collaborating with a few people here in the community in the Tampa area. We have that. We also have our Empower Her Inner Radiance. It is a group coaching that will start March 17th. And it is a 4-week group coaching program that is really helping women come into union with themselves. And it's going to be a group of us where we're doing this weekly. We're just kind of checking in, and I already have like what we're going to kind of be working on. It's more like an inward. I believe in doing the inner work, so it exudes outwardly, because I think so often we think that, oh, well, the physical appearance, oh my God, no, sweetie. Over here, we doing inner work.
Hey, it's like everybody buying a Stanley Cup, but I'm like, y'all getting the cup, but are you drinking the water?
Right? we doing. I promote the inner work over here. Okay, we go get to the root cause of what is creating these triggers within you that you totally so unaware of. So we're doing that, and then we also have our virtual yoga classes on Sundays. I think they're like 7:30 or 7:15. So those are also on Sunday as well. So those are like the main things that are coming up. Our retreat, the group coaching.
Let me have you repeat the time again, because you said 7:30 to 7:15. What?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I said. I think it's either 7:30 or 7. I think it's 7:30. That is the Sunday classes, the live Sunday classes. But if they want to just test yoga out, we have our free version on Mondays at 6 p.m. to 6:45. You can catch me live on my page. And again, if you miss it, you can always catch the replay because it'll be posted on the page.
Okay, man, it has been such a pleasure to have you on today. I'm sure this is not the last time we will interact, right? Latonyia, you're such an inspiration. So for guys, if you're out there listening, you want about your career path, like don't be afraid to go down a different road. Don't be afraid while you're working your business, I'm not even gonna say side hustle, right? While you're working your full-time job, to be an entrepreneur, because I kind of get tired of the word side hustle. That's like if you just like driving. No, when you're entrepreneur, you're really doing this and putting your all into it. It ain't a side hustle. It's like literally I'm running a business and I'm going through the ups and downs and curveballs of running a business. And you are a minority doing in a minority game, and you're out here making a difference. And you're also just an example of how when you follow the path that God is giving you, the floodgates will open because you're having ample opportunity. And I'm so glad that your first event is one of many was a success, and it has been such an exciting opportunity to have you on today. So we're gonna get ready to close this out, because if you're listening in, guys, this is a podcast blitz. So for the next 3 hours, I'm gonna be on live with my different guests and just showing Black excellence for Black History Month. And so, are there any final words of wisdoms that you want to share with us? And then also, please tell the audience where they can find you on social media with all of that great stuff you talked about.
Absolutely. I will say my words of wisdom is, and it's one that I'm getting ready to post tomorrow, and it's been coming up a lot the last few days. Remain curious and open to where you are going. Come outside of the box. And I know as a mindset coach, you probably can agree with this too, is that we get so fixated and we stay in these boxes. But I want to remind the viewers today, remain curious and open to where you're being led, because you don't know that next door is leading you to your land of flowing with milk and honey. I would say remain curious and open. You can always find me on my personal Facebook page. I'm up under Latonyia Sumpter. And then up under Instagram, it's Empowered_WellBeing1. And then YouTube is also Empowered WellBeing as well.
Latonyia, this is not the last time that we're going to see each other. I got events going all year. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Career Coach RX podcast. The video is immediately available on our page. It's available on YouTube, but we'll also post it and schedule it throughout the month to appear on Spotify. It'll appear on Amazon Music as well as iHeartRadio. You can find us across all social. The name of our business is Work Solutions LLC, and we're known for the coaching branch is Career Coach RX. You can find us across all social medias at Career Coach RX. Thank you, and thank you for tuning in today, and you have a great Black History Month.